Inebriated Insights with Mark Haan. Welcome, everybody. Give it up, Mark Haan.
Welcome to Inebriated Insights, the show where we drink away our depression over the news. I'm your host, Mark Haan. Joining me tonight, child actor, voice actor, man who complains incessantly about his job on Facebook, Jarrett Kaufman.
Woo! What's up, everyone? I am just loving life right now, aren't you?
Oh, it's the best.
Hey, Jet. Mary and I watched the pilot season episode of Step by Step.
Oh boy!
And you weren't in it, but you were in the intro. You're in the intro there, and I was like, "Oh my God, there's Jet! That's fantastic!" So
someone took down the leaked version with me in it, so that was up for a little while, and I can't find it anymore. Oh well.
Everybody's out there who knows where the version of Step by Step is with Jet in it. Please hit us up at Throwdown Comedy.
Yes.
We also have a very talented comedian, improviser, and a woman who can look elegant while she's picking up shit, Christine Tarbet.
Hello.
Hello. Good to have you, Christine.
Good to be here.
All right. And then very talented comedian from Portland who, if I remember right, once made a joke about mediocre blowjobs.
Hell yeah.
Yep, that was you. All right. Great. And lastly, as always, we have my producer, a man who makes lights, a man who clearly bangs it down raw dog because he has 2 kids, Dave Stratton.
All right. They were planned, right?
He wrote that one.
Oh yeah. He's like, what else can I fuck over Dave this week? What can I say about? I already made fun of his car accident and everything. Never mind. All right, so we have 2 drinking words tonight. One is narcissism, and the other one is fascism. So the two main isms that are going on in America right now. Or any?
Do we still have to drink if Dave mispronounces it?
What?
We have to drink twice.
What? Narcissism? I said narcissism.
There you go.
I said
narcissism.
Almost every time.
Narcissism. It's already started here, folks. Narcissism or narcissist or narcissistic or fascism or fascist. There you go. What were you saying, Mark?
Do you need a cognitive test right now, Dave?
Oh, elephants. I don't know what the whole story was, but something about elephants. Anyways.
No, that's the whole story. The elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Person, man, woman, TV, camera. And with that, let us chug before our first statement.
Yeah. That's some good music right there. Patriotic.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, guys.
Hell yeah.
Last week, President of the United States and Stormy Daniels' most disappointing sex partner, Donald Trump, sent unidentified federal agents to commit domestic terrorism against the citizens of Portland. The federal agents kidnapped people on the street and threw them into unmarked vans with no explanation. Yesterday, Trump claimed that this would be happening routinely in democratically governed cities under the name Operation Legend. Alice, you're from Portland. Do you think this was simply done to pump up the base? Is he going to do this on election day? Is this going to be what a second term of a Trump presidency would look like? What do you think?
I think that this is like me when I'm playing The Sims or like Sim City every once in a while. You're like, you built a nice city. You think you're trying to be the best leader you can. But then there's that button there that says disaster options. And you can pick a tornado. You can pick a hurricane. You can pick an alien invasion. And Trump is just like, yeah, let's fuck shit up. Because I'm in charge and I can, and no one's going to tell me I can't do something. His whole life, he's been told people say you can't do something and then he just does it. They're like, hey, you can't commit domestic terrorism against your own people. And he's like, yeah, I can. And then Republicans are like, he sure can because they're bootlickers.
Yeah. You can't have sex with children. Oh, Jeffrey Epstein says I can? Okay.
Yeah. Watch me.
Watch me. I'm going to do it.
Well, I mean, that's where he actually got the idea of the van kidnapping people,
Yeah. Epstein's been a real inspiration to this presidency in the worst ways.
Yes. It's interesting.
It's always fascinating how consistently throughout his entire presidency, before it, but especially during, he always, I feel like he reads comic books and then just does everything the villains do.
I feel like he can't read, but he looks at the pictures and he's
That's
like,
fair.
yeah.
That's a good. Someone reads them to him, and he's like, "Oh, I like this Darth Vader guy," because of course that's a comic book. It is, but yeah, anyway. Point is, like every single thing he does, it's like he identifies with all the villains, and this has been all the imagery too. Like you look at all this stuff on Twitter, like when he there was that ridiculous Photoshop of his head onto a boxer's body. It was one of the villains from a Rocky film.
Yeah.
There was, of course, his campaign called his campaign the Death Star. It's like they consistently have no comprehension of the fact that villains are bad.
No, they're great.
And then
they're awesome.
Yeah, and then they make all of the villain decisions, and this Gestapo stuff. I mean, like it could not be more obviously evil to anyone paying attention. And it's exactly the thing that if the Democrats were doing this, because of course all the stuff that the right wing claims are all these communist, horrible, socialist ideals, they'd be screaming bloody murder. But it's their guy, and this is the stuff that they have guns for. This is the reason they have guns.
Right. And then there's Roger Stone, who just looks like the Riddler. He's just like the old Riddler. It's like, how the fuck did this guy get released from prison? It's just
he looks especially villainous.
Yeah.
He broke out.
Yeah.
The guards couldn't answer his riddles, and so he was able to be released.
God damn that technicality.
I think Trump goes to the official White House portrait of Richard Nixon and just jerks off to it.
He tries to, but he can never finish.
Like Law and Order, Southern Strategy. I think Nixon is his hero.
Well, I think he speaks to it like the original Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire and William Dafoe just talking to the mask, and the Green Goblin talks back to it. Like he just talks to the picture and is like, "You're not doing a good job," or something like that. He's like, "I don't know."
Didn't send Trump a letter that said just one of the random things in it. It wasn't about him being president, but he signed it with "You'd be a good president, love Nixon."
Oh God, that's scary.
I don't remember if that was a Facebook meme or not, but
it could be.
Anything is possible at this point.
What seriously, but more specifically about Portland, P-Town, that's your stomping ground. What do you think's gonna happen in the coming months? I feel like they're just pushing up more resistance. They're like, you're gonna send in these federal troops? Fuck you. We're gonna send in moms. We're gonna send in dads with leaf blowers. We're gonna send in our children with fucking bubbles and stuff. I don't know. What as a Portlandier, how do you feel about all that?
I mean, here's the tricky thing that you always make fun of right-wing people for, is the fact that an AK-47 isn't going to protect you against a tyrannical government because they can just drone you. You're just outgunned. You can have as many AKs as you want, and it's going to be useless. So ultimately, either they're going to back down because a lot of these feds are saying that they feel demoralized by how much everyone hates what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so either they're going to back down or Trump's just going to lay the hammer down. And as much as Portland will come out to try to fight and resist it, you can't do anything against them at a certain point.
Yeah, you can't do anything against fascism, right?
But I really think, you son of a
Fascism.
Fascism.
I really think that there are a lot of people in Portland who will do the thing of okay, I'll make you kill me. I'll make you show everyone who you are. Even though I know I'm going to lose, even though I know I can't get in your way, I'm going to force you to reveal what kind of person you are by harming me. And that's the thing about Portland, is that even if they quote unquote lose, there's going to be a ton of social media out there showing that these people are insane. Yeah. So I think Portland's not going to back down. I don't know if they can win, but I don't think they'll back down.
No. And I'm hearing today that the DHS agents who, of course, were sent there to help shut down these protests are now trapped inside the courthouse. They themselves have become basically been almost taken hostage by the protesters. They have no power over them there. Yeah,
that's so
they're basically the place they went to protect. They are now trapped inside.
That's funny.
So what can we get Fred Armisen to do.
I mean, this is the most Portland thing of all. Is Portland really turned on Portlandia? My God, it's too mainstream.
So I have two things about this. One, I did background investigations for people who did this job, or these DHS agents, and it really sucks because I mean, the people that I did background with, these were good people, and it makes, and I'm sure that, like we were saying the last 2 weeks, it's like they're just doing their job, and they probably hate doing it, but some of them probably get a big thrill of it. I don't know these specific people, but I don't know at what point when you're doing this job do you say like, nope, but you know, that's your career though. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's fucked up that this has to happen. But second thing is, at what point do the governors step in and they say, you know what, we're going to deploy our National Guard and they're going to protect our protesters? I don't know. That's just an idea. I don't know if is that a dumb idea, or do you think that's a good idea, Mark?
I think it's an interesting idea.
I mean,
I think that'll happen.
The governors have been saying they've been telling Trump, we don't want your agents here.
Yeah, nobody wants them here. It's bullshit. There's no reason for them to be doing this. And so
if the Coast Guard or someone was like fighting these feds, like at that point we're having a civil war.
Well, I mean, the Coast Guard, they're also federal, but each state has its own National Guard. There's the Air National Guard, and then there's the National Guard. National Guard's like the Army, Air National Guard, they have planes, blah, blah, blah. But so they have National Guard troops. There's stations all around California. I mean, I know where they're all at just because I had to go out there a lot. But these people, these are the weekend warriors that you hear about. The 1 week in a year, 2 weeks. Sorry, 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year, and they just get deployed.
Suddenly, we're asking so much of them.
Yes. So why can't these governors just be like, I'm going to deploy the National Guard, and they're going to protect our citizens from these fascist federal police?
I think if they did that, I think that
there you go.
I think if they did that, then you would see a good amount of these like federal agents like quit. But I hate to be so corny as to like quote a movie right now, but in The Departed, when DiCaprio is like getting therapy, and she's like, if you use your firearm, you got to talk about it. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like half these cops signed up to use their firearm.
Yep.
Like a lot of these people, they signed up to do exactly this. They thought maybe they'd be doing it in another country, but they're fine doing it against these crazy liberals trying to drive us all to socialist hell or whatever. Like they're excited. They're loving this. They just thought everyone would be cheering them on. And we're all like, fuck you.
Yeah. These DHS agents, what they did was protect federal courthouses, or they would assist in marshals. They have up until now they had a very limited job. They didn't do much, but it's a lot deeper than what people know about. There's different factions. They have like their own federal bureau, like they have their own investigations unit and stuff. And it's a little weird, but I feel like these guys who are doing this have not had this type of experience before. They were basically federal security guards. So
you bring up a good point that applies to a lot of things, Dave. Is like there are people in the State Department too who are career diplomats, and they don't like what they have to do under the Trump administration. But at the same time, like they don't want to leave their career, they don't want to leave their benefits, they don't want to forfeit on their pension.
Yeah, they got a huge pension. Yeah,
and they're supposed to be apolitical. They're supposed to be bipartisan.
But then Trump's fucking. Anyways, all right, sure. Here we go. Sorry, got to get the song up. All right.
That really makes me love America again.
Yes, we can all sing along to it. That's what we should do. Next time we should all sing along to that song.
Real patriotism.
Yes.
But Dave.
Yes.
This week, Donald Trump did an interview with Chris Wallace in which he bragged about passing a cognitive test that includes identifying an elephant, claimed that the police shouldn't be defunded because they kill white people too, said would not necessarily accept the results of the election if he were to lose, and called both world wars beautiful. Wallace thoroughly fact-checked Trump throughout the interview and combated many of his claims. Christine, what do you think the Trump campaign hoped to gain here?
Well, I think Trump himself hoped to gain self-aggrandizement. I think at this point, everyone needs to stop expecting Trump to make sense, to have thoughts, values, anything that is sort of beyond what a narcissist.
Woo!
I mean, it's clear he has narcissistic personality disorder.
Narcissistic.
I just read Mary Trump's book, which was really telling. And basically what she said is that, he's never had a strategy. He's a bully. He acted like a bully. He was bombastic. He made all of these claims that couldn't be proven. And she said it worked, but if it hadn't worked, he wouldn't have changed the tactic, right? So for somebody who his whole life, anything he said and anything he did had no consequences, then what does it matter what he says or what he does? So he loves being in the spotlight. He'll just say whatever he wants. And at this point, the campaign knows that his followers don't care if he blathers on. It makes no difference. We've literally seen interviews where people say it makes no difference. So I don't know what the campaign thought they were going to get out of it. Maybe they thought he was going to talk about, how he's deploying protecting people in Portland and how he's going to, I just popped a pee, how he's bringing down MS-13 and just, all, his old hits. But we really got to stop expecting him to make any sense. And I think, what I've read is that, he is the guy who might makes right, right? So he rules by might makes right. Now, emotionally speaking, when you have emotional development, you grow out of thinking that that's the way to settle arguments when you're about 5 years old. And what I've read is that his core supporters never got beyond that emotional development stage where they're impressed by the bully. So we have, a bloated walking thyroid meat bag who's completely id, who only speaks upon impulse. And his followers are the toddlers who, clap and cheer and pee their pants over him. So I guess what I'm saying is he's just going to keep saying stupid shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I say this? I used to live near some MS-13s. The only thing that they ever did was spray paint MS-13 in just little stick figure lines on our fences.
We created MS-13.
Yeah.
I mean, MS-13 exists because we destabilized their entire region. Okay.
Are you talking about ISIS or?
Most factions in the United States are just like bored teenagers who have nothing to do.
Right,
and I gotta say that what they're spray painting is less offensive than anything the right wing has been spray painting.
Oh my God! No, and this really, the Trump presidency is the culmination of three things. It's a culmination of the Republicans kowtowing to the religious right since the 80s. Then we have 9/11, which brought about xenophobia and racism,
which Obama was responsible for.
Right. Yeah.
Because he was playing golf.
Why didn't he stop it?
Why did he stop it? Because he wasn't even a senator yet. But anyway.
Why didn't he just text his friends and tell them to call it off?
Yeah.
Well, I want to know why he didn't stop World War II. Why he didn't stop World War II.
Yeah.
Or the pandemic in 1918.
Yeah.
And then the third thing, which really was the culmination of Trumpism, is that we had a educated Black man become president, which, oh my God, white people were like, I'm losing the only power I have, which is my white skin. We must protect this at all costs. And there was Trump with his bombastic racism, the man who had Hitler speeches on his bedside, not for strategy or anything like that, but just because he liked the guy. And it was that moment. It was everything crystallized, and we are all paying the price.
Christine, I have to correct you on one thing, because when Obama was elected president, that ended racism. Okay.
Oh, I always forget about that.
Yep.
I am so sorry.
It's
You guys.
That brought back around to one of the things you mentioned, Mark, in your question facetiously. But I love the fact that there's police brutality against white people means there's no racism problem.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. What are you talking about?
I mean, yeah, let's ignore that obvious ridiculous chestnut of the two being correlative, and therefore, if as many or more white people are killed by the cops, then clearly there's no racist agenda by police. But there's also the fact that, funny, until Black Lives Matter was speaking up about these issues, where was all of your outrage over police violence against anyone, including white people? Like, if this is a big thing, that it turns out that white people are somehow more murdered by cops, why the fuck is nobody except the Black Lives Matter movement doing anything about it? It took Black people getting killed for someone to step up and care at all. I mean, obviously, no one was caring before that about anything, and that was the whole problem. But finally, the Black community is like, we're fucking done with this. Why did no one care about anyone being killed?
Well, the rate of Black people being killed is much higher than the rate of white people being killed.
Of course.
Right. But I think, it is funny. And I think that speaks to, sort of the tenacity of these groups and the fact that they've had to fight. Black people have had to fight for every single thing that they have gotten in this country, every little piece of political capital, including, the right to walk down the street. And so you have a group of people in this country who are survivors, and they will mobilize, which is so admirable.
What's
Absolutely
crazy is like a lot of right-wing people. They always say, like, what about Black on Black crime? Heavily implying that Black people are like animals, basically, that like we would see our friends and neighbors murdered and we just don't give a shit unless a white person murdered them. But what's so funny is that, like you pointed out, now they're saying, more white people are killed by police. And it's like, yeah, they genuinely believe that, and they genuinely don't give a shit. They think it's true, and they see these other white people dying, and they don't care. They are like the animals that they are trying to accuse us of being. Like, they're everything that they keep trying to accuse us of being. It's fucking ridiculous.
Right back at them. What about the white on white crime? And then it ignores all of the fact that when you have an entire community, this is famously the issue with for the Black community, is that they can't trust the cops. They can't believe in a police presence. They can't believe in the police coming to solve any of their problems. So these communities live without police help. So what do we know about what Black communities are doing about quote unquote Black on Black crime? The crime that happens internally, this is frequently why historically gangs have been an issue. This is why we have so many misunderstandings of what happens in minority communities in general. Obviously, it's not just Black communities. Any minority community that is either ignored by the cops or oppressed by the cops handles things their own way that we don't know about. So we don't know what's going on internally, and we can't know what's going on internally because it's not measured.
Sorry, go ahead.
I went to in Portland. I went to basically like a candlelight vigil for Philando Castile. I happened to be in Portland when that was happening, and we were just there, candles, signs, singing songs, doing chants. The news wasn't there. If we would have lit the courthouse on fire, they would have showed up.
Of course, yeah.
But because like when we're just mourning, essentially, I mean, we were protesting, but we're also mourning. Like, you never hear about it. You the only people there, the police were there in riot gear, and it's like, we have fucking candles, but okay.
Well, that's the thing. Is just
and no one hears about it.
This news cycle that's going on right now, especially right-wing news stations like Fox News and Breitbart, are just focusing on the absolute extreme of what's happening, like with the whole what was going on in Seattle, and which they shut down, and the Chaz up on Capitol Hill there, And then now in Portland, they just say this is a war zone. Portland is being taken over by these liberal, socialist, communist, anarchists coming in here, these Antifas that are destroying their city, and it's like, it's 2 blocks. I don't know much about the whole. I mean, I grew up in Vancouver. I was near Portland, but I never went over to Portland as an adult. Really, I didn't get to explore the city as much as I could when I was older. But how many blocks is this protest taking up, Alice? Oh, you didn't live in Portland? Oh, you left?
I did live in Portland, but I lived like just on like the outskirts of what was technically the city of Portland, and I was homeschooled.
Okay.
So we
but do you know like the downtown
Me too,
area?
homeschooled.
Like,
oh, yeah.
What was the how many blocks is this taking up right now? What's this protest that's going on? It's like
Portland
a street.
It's like a small big city.
Yeah,
you know, it's one of those.
It's really small. And you know what?
Yeah,
all the streets, all the Simpsons characters are named after the streets in downtown Portland. There's a Flanders Street. Yeah. There's a Lovejoy Street. Yeah, it's quite amazing, man.
Dave,
yep.
Before we move on, I want to touch on something you said, because with narcissism...
Yeah, narcissism.
Right.
Like, part of the thing that narcissists do is that they initiate conflict, and then when you have a reaction to it, they blame you for that reaction. And this is like, and it's been a huge problem through Trump's presidency, is he projects his narcissistic personality disorder onto everybody else, and it infects Republicans, and it infects the government, and it infects countries, and now this is just the way that things are run.
Well, the thing is that people who are who are in the presence of another narcissist or a narcissist, let's drink up for all those guys, they're not aware of it, because the person who comes across as charismatic and they come across as like appealing to them, and so what happens is that they buy into it, and that person sets an example of how to behave, and so everybody else starts to behave like that. This is a common thing with narcissistic parents in their children. Are you still drinking? I'm drinking for that one.
Like adult, probably.
Yeah, so their kids can either become one of two things. You can be codependent, which you thrive. You need somebody to be to experience that behavior, or you also become a narcissist. And so it's like, it's hard to identify these people. It's hard to understand. But once you know the signs of what's going on, that they're trying to deflect their problems, they can't accept fault for themselves. They can't. Sorry.
Trump, no, it's okay. Trump is so extreme that he can't hide it. Like, there are people that really like him because he's mean, and like that Atlantic, article said, the cruelty is the point. And white people have always bonded over cruel acts. I mean, look at lynchings. That, and of course wanting to keep their power. But he is so extreme. He comes across as odd. Once you've gone past any sort of superficial like interaction or even watching him. He is strange. He doesn't react in the way that you would expect someone to, partially because he has absolutely no way of expressing any empathy, which, he has zero empathy.
Well, he's a sociopath. He's also a narcissistic egotist. He's an egotistic narcissist. And so, who's drinking for narcissist? Me? I said it 4 times now.
And really handsome.
He has straight up dementia, so it's like no part of his brain functions properly.
Excuse me, he passed that test with flying colors. You knew what that
aced it.
was?
He aced it.
I am more and more convinced that he did not pass the test.
I've taken that test.
I thought the same thing. He didn't release the results. We didn't see it.
Just like his tax returns.
Yeah, I realized a couple days ago that I took that test like a couple of years ago, because with my ADHD and all the memory issues I have, I was starting to get concerned that like maybe there was something else going on there. And so I ended up with an appointment with a psychiatrist. We went through this whole, like, it was all sorts of memory tests. There was a whole bunch of stuff, but I know that cognitive test was in there because I recognized some of the things they were describing. And I also aced it, as in they told me afterwards, yeah, you're fine.
Proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and drink to Jet.
Stable genius.
Move on to the next segment.
All right, here we go. Let's all sing along.
In the shower.
Pretty good,
All right.
guys.
With expanded unemployment benefits set to expire at the end of the month, eviction moratoriums being lifted soon, and Ivanka Trump's fancy version of Craigslist finds something new, not being the juggernaut we all expected it to be, economists warn that the U.S. economy is about to go into a tailspin. Democrats want to extend the extra $600 in unemployment and the payment protection program through December, which they actually have, by the way, 3 months ago in a bill. But Republicans are dead set on a payroll tax cut, a capital gains holiday, and are looking to maybe expand unemployment by $100 a week. Jet, do you have any hope that the two sides can reach an agreement, or are you in a perpetual state of anxiety like me?
Oh yeah, no, it's constant anxiety. I feel like this is the real domestic terrorism right here. Is our government, the way it functions or doesn't, and what it puts us through on a constant basis. And it's absurd because the Republican perspective, as almost always is the case, but it seems even more obvious here right now, is one that only throws their base under the bus. I mean, obviously, the Republicans are also the party of untold wealth, but that's really the minority of their voters. Like, they have that power, but their voting base is all of the people most screwed by this, incredibly. So the fact that even right now, their initial instinct is let's do the things that don't sound like they help people at all is insane. And it's insane because we're in a position now where even tons of Republicans are like, okay, this is kind of crazy. Enough is enough. You're not helping us. Like, I know Trump's base is untouchable, but a lot of his voter base was just general Republicans who can look at this and go, but we're hurting right now, and you're not giving us a solution. It seems implausible on the one hand, that the Democrats and the Republicans can find middle ground at all, because they haven't been for quite some time. But it's still in the back of my head. It also seems even more implausible that the Republicans are just going to let their voters down to such an obvious degree that they can't help but not vote for them again. And it's even to the degree that I'll point out, because Christine, earlier you talked about how Trump is on just a straight line and can't deviate from it. The weird exception this week was we saw some slight deviance from him, very slight, but we saw him wear a mask. We saw him talk about how wearing a mask is patriotic. He gave an entire press conference where, until he was asked to defend pedophiles and did so happily, he stayed on script the entire time. And I think what's going on there is he's reached a point in possibly for the first time in his entire life where he is losing something and finally can't even convince himself that he's not losing. The polls are so, well, yeah.
He also canceled the Republican convention.
Yeah, that was the new thing today too. Like, it is so incredibly obvious to him that he is losing this election now that I think he is finally starting to listen to certain advisors. Now, the thing is, he's not listening to advisors who are advising him on how to run a country well, or how to help stop a pandemic, or how to govern in any way, shape, or form. But he is listening to advisors who are telling him, this is what's screwing you on getting reelected. And if you don't change these things, you definitely aren't going to get to still be the most powerful person in the world.
Yeah, he has the new campaign manager, right? Yeah. So the question is like, did this guy come in and start telling him this, and that he's listening? And then at what point, though, does he pivot and go, like, I don't like him anymore. I'm going to take the next guy, So, I mean, I will say, though, that when he wore the mask, there's no sort of like anxiety around the fact that, you know, he used to say it was stupid and now all of a sudden it's the greatest thing in the world. Like there's no anxiety around completely being hypocritical. And that's where he remains consistent.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was the grocery store, was it Winn-Dixie, the grocery store chain that announced they are definitely have a no mask policy across all of their stores. It was this big news. 2 hours later, Trump in his conference announced that masks are patriotic. And immediately after that, they flipped their policy to requiring masks in all of their grocery stores.
Wow.
It's
jinx.
It's a cult. It's a cult of death.
Yep.
I mean, you know, it's kind of funny when Sarah Palin had that whole thing about the death panels and now
Yes.
everything. I mean, they are a cult of death. You know, hundreds of thousands of people can die. And, you know, we should just trust in God. I mean, I've seen that. I've seen that actually from a nurse on Facebook.
But to go back to the initial question, which was purely about whether I feel like the common ground there, like, I feel like Trump, of all strange people, is the one closest to that, of actually paying attention to the temperature of the room for the first time in his life and is adjusting course ever so slightly. And the rest of the Republicans still don't seem to be doing it. I mean, they have been coming up on the masks after he said it. But as far as the rest of the stuff, and particularly the program, the unemployment program and everything else, they seem so far away from it that I as insane as it is, I'm not convinced they're going to come around.
Well, here's the thing about the his advisors, not his advisors, but his election campaign manager, is that I feel that they're just gonna like there's no way that you're gonna win without cheating, and so they're just trying to figure out more ways to cheat. Like, well, what if we deploy these troops to stop having people vote, or just I fear the worst, and I fear that come election day, it's going to be fucking nuts. Yeah,
he's hemorrhaging supporters, but the support he does have, their votes are worth more than our votes. So even though he's losing a ton of supporters, he still has a very, very good shot, and we can't get comfortable and think that he's definitely out. Because I mean, like his approvals at 36%. He doesn't need 50%. He doesn't need 51%.
He didn't last time.
Oh, no, he doesn't. I mean, God, I wish I had it in front of me, but I saw the lowest popular vote that he could get and still win the Electoral College. And it is terrifying.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the House of Representatives because of gerrymandering. We actually have to win by about 5 points to even get a 1-seat majority. But I think it's interesting through all of this, Trump is kind of following the golden rule in that he's treating other people like he would want to be treated. Like he would like a capital gains holiday if he was in the situation. He would like.
No, I think he likes the golden shower rule.
Hey-o!
Hey-o!
Hey-o! Zing!
And with that, Christine mutes herself.
One thing I wanted to point out, and I lost it, by the way. No, it's about... oh, fuck it. God damn it, beer.
I talked about golden showers, and Dave, all the blood rushed away from his brain into his wiener.
I've been on vacation. Yeah, we say wiener around here.
Penile glands.
Yes.
I only find anywhere between 3rd grade and medical school.
No, here's what I was going to say. So I feel like the best way to woo a Trump voter away from Trump to woo. I don't know if that's the right word.
Woo.
Woo. Woo.
Well, maybe you're
woo with me.
Whoa or woo. So to woo a Trump voter away is just to say what's going to happen in 2024. If he wins the election again, the Republican Party is going to be just gone. It's going to be not decimated, just destroyed. So you got to implant hope in their mind that vote for Biden now, and Paul Ryan's going to run in 2024, and he's going to be the answer for the Republican Party. But if Trump wins, no one's going to vote Republican. 2024 is going to go to a Democrat. and Paul Ryan's not going to be in office. Just put that in their brain.
2024.
Assuming the country still exists.
Exactly.
There's no elections in 2024.
No.
in
Yeah,
my
it's
opinion.
going to be Mad Max. We're all
Well,
gonna...
Trump will be reelected for the third time because he'll have suspended all of the rules.
Dude, he's going to die. He's going to just die of old. Yeah.
His father didn't die until he was 93.
Yes, but his father wasn't eating McDonald's every single night.
Yes.
So
Yeah, well, he ate rage, apparently.
he also got arrested at a Klan meeting. Honestly, I think that giving Donald Trump a second term is sort of our way of forcing the Republicans to smoke the entire pack. Like,
Oh, yeah.
what you wanted. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. But, I mean, Mark, you had a reaction when I said
If
Paul
only it
Ryan.
weren't for the secondhand smoke that kills the rest of us.
Yeah.
Do you think Paul...
And the gun he's holding.
Do you think Paul Ryan can restore the Republican Party?
No, because Paul's
Fucking coward.
a terrible person. I want to tell you two things about Paul.
Slick-haired, widowed peak bastard.
But they love him. They want to suck his dick, every one of them.
He is
No.
a coward.
I gotta say two things about Paul Ryan.
All right.
Which
Beta
is
cuck.
that in 2016, Paul Ryan had this big conference call where he was like, I can't support Donald Trump anymore. He's too divisive. He's too racist. And he had a speech prepared for when Trump lost about being a more inclusive party, not being so divisive, moving on from this. And Trump won, and he tucked it in his pocket at never to be seen again. Also, the second thing about Paul Ryan.
Nigga.
The Affordable Care Act was passed in 2010. Paul Ryan is hailed as this policy wonk, this genius. He goes through all the details. He had 7 fucking years to come up with an alternative to the Affordable Care Act, and he had nothing.
He shit the bed.
Because Republicans will never support universal health care. Never, ever, ever. It's too common.
No, because people won't be as worried about losing their jobs, and they won't stay in these horrible jobs for zero pay because they need it for their health insurance.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Ryan used to brag
That's
about
right.
black girlfriend.
And that's a good example of why that entire health insurance system has the power it does. And that's a good point because I hadn't really even thought about it that way. But it desperately helps these giant businesses keep people down, because as long as they're reliant on the health insurance system, they have to desperately cling to whatever jobs they've got, no matter what they are. If everyone has access to the healthcare they need, that gives people the freedom that they need to pick their jobs accordingly, to pick their opportunities, to go unemployed for a short period of time while they figure out what they really want to do and not be screwed. Like, that is absolutely how the common worker is had by the balls in this country, is healthcare. And I hadn't even thought about it exactly that angle until you said that. But that's why they're so desperate to cling to that system.
We can't make people happy. I mean, we can't make people happy here.
And I'll give you this. The reason we don't have universal college is because we would not have a military without people who need a GI Bill.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're desperate for education. Yeah.
I'm going to be running for president in 2024, so I want all your votes.
I'm not saying Paul Ryan is. I like the guy, but it's just I'm saying
Well, you
that.
sound pretty gay for him.
You just
Oh
want
God,
to French kiss him.
he's so hot, guys. I mean, look at those abs.
We've seen the workout videos.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
he's just sitting
I
there.
gotta work
He's
out.
doing this on a couch.
Mm-hmm.
But-
Yeah.
So,
With his stupid face.
but
I can make fun of him all I want, but I've never been that sexy.
these traditional Republicans that are weaning away from Trump, I feel like
Wooing. They're wooing.
no, weaning,
You said
like
weaning away. Yeah, he got
weaning
that one
away.
right.
That one's right. I got you, Christine. Fuck you. All right. Anyways, so they will gravitate towards him if you just plant that in their head that, like, Paul Ryan's gonna run in 2024, and we don't want to fuck this up for him because they're gonna restore the Republican Party to what it used to be before Trump destroyed it all, before Ted Cruz ate a booger, all that shit. So
You know what his Achilles heel is he's not a hot, fuckable blonde woman like Ivanka Trump who's going to win him in every fucking primary in every fucking state. He can run all he goddamn wants. She's got him with her fucking Bullshit.
God, Ivanka is not attractive. I'm sorry.
Ivanka is
Oh,
going to get the
God.
support of liberal white women in too many states, and I'm
Who are
pissed.
you?
Yeah.
Who are you comparing her to? Susan Collins?
Who, me?
She's attractive.
Ivanka
No.
Trump's own dad said she's hot, so I think we can all agree.
That picture with
Not
her,
ugly.
no. I'm
She's
sorry.
also the most intelligent person in that family.
And she's
Like,
so
again,
dumb.
No,
Like,
no. Mary Trump is the most
Right.
intelligent person in that family.
I'm talking the circle
she
that we
is-
see
Wait,
together.
Right.
Barron
Yeah.
takes a women's studies class at the college he goes to, and then we decide who's the most intelligent one in the family.
Fair enough.
The last thing that I'll say before we move on to who should fuck off is that, in the same way, remember when South Park, when Mr. Garrison is doing the Trump impersonation, he's a Trump character, and he says he'll fuck everyone to death? If Paul Ryan runs for president, I will fuck him to death. I will shove my dick in his ass until he is dead. Dave, play the music.
Yeah. Ba, 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 ba.
Jeff, we'll start with you. Fuck off.
All right.
Today, Eric, did you said Jet or Dave?
Oh, yeah,
All
sorry.
right, yeah. All right. Today, Eric Garcetti said no new closures in Los Angeles, even though we're still spiking and climbing, and so it still feels like no efforts being made again. So yeah, I gotta say, fuck off, Mayor Garcetti right now.
So bad at his job.
Yeah, we need Los Angeles and California started strong. We started as somebody who seemed to be paying attention to the science,
And then
we
immediately
just
gave in.
went right down here, like we caved immediately. It was all about how we are going to follow the science. We are going to carefully run these stages precisely, and then once other states started opening up, it was like, oh shit, we got to open fast, and it just collapsed. And of course, the numbers shot up exactly like everyone who was paying attention expected them to, and we closed back down a little bit. But no one's paying attention. Like, I haven't seen a difference. I know we officially closed back down a little bit. The state did, but the traffic that's slowly come back up looks the same to me. The clients that I have to visit because I'm essential. Yay! There are no fewer people at these offices than there were before. Nobody seems to have changed their habits, and our mayor, like many other officials, is not doing enough when we desperately need any action. So, Eric Garcetti.
Yeah, fuck off.
Dave, who should fuck off?
Okay, Ted Yoho.
Oh, yeah.
That guy got...
It's YOLO.
No, it's Yoho.
I'm sorry.
He's a
losing
narcissist.
it.
He's a narcissist. No.
Wait, do we drink to that or not? I'm not sure.
No. Is it? No, wait. Ted... It's not Ted YOLO. Is it Ted YOLO? It is
It's
Ted
Yoho. You had it right.
I had it
Don't let
right.
Christine
Oh,
get in
that's
your
right.
head.
It's Yoho.
It's Yoho,
Yeah.
not you only live
She's
once,
just
you
fucking
fucking
with you.
asshole. Fuck you, Christine. No, I'm sorry. That's the whole point, is because he said fuck you, AOC, and I just told you to fuck off, Christine, so I apologize. But no,
Sexism.
I know, it is rampant in this world, but we're comedians and we improvise together. So it's okay. It is not okay. But anyways, so that guy, man, he told AOC to fuck off, and it's like, that's not okay to have two representatives tell you. That's just fucking childish behavior. You're not improvisers together on an improv team where you do stupid shit like mime jerking people off on stage like we all do. But no, they're professional fucking diplomats, and they are like on news, on a fucking news channel, and like her speech was just phenomenal, just sticking it to the man, just saying exactly that, like, you know, you have a daughter and you have a wife, but because of that, that doesn't make you a good person. Like, it doesn't make you not sexist. I don't know. I just got livid when I watched that video, but I'm a little drunk, so I can't really express myself very much. But so, anybody else want to expand on that? Alice, Christine? No, nope, no.
YOLO.
YOLO.
The only thing to expand on that is that, like, Christians have a huge persecution complex.
Yeah, they do.
In his apology, he was like, "But I will not apologize for saying for God. And it's like, what the fuck are you?
She's literally so junior in Congress. She terrifies these people.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
hilarious.
and it's because she comes with sincere ideas that people believe in.
Like if she was really everything that they claim she is, they could just ignore her.
Yeah.
That's what you do with
Absolutely.
someone who is ineffective and useless and stupid and pointless.
Bartender.
You're right. You
Like,
just fucking
stupid
ignore them. It's
You
the
give them
fact that
enough
she
rope
is-
to hang themselves.
She's fucking brilliant. She's great at what she does.
Great
She's
speaker.
powerful. She's a great speaker. Like every time you hear her grilling anybody in any of the congressional hearings of any sort, like it is embarrassing to everybody around her that they're not putting the same level of effort she is into these things. She is scary to these people.
Do you think they'll just learn at some point? They're just gonna say, "Let's
Learn?
not fuck with her. Let's not push her
They
buttons."
never
'cause
did that with Hillary Clinton.
It's
No.
true.
They're gonna Hillary Clinton her, or at least they're trying to. I
Right.
do want to say though that I mean he was out there saying like I have a wife, I have daughters.
Ugh.
I've been a
That's
nanny
the
for a long
biggest
time.
fucking creepy thing ever.
A lot of times having daughters makes a dude more sexist. Like it is not the shield that these dudes think that it is.
Oh yeah.
All right. On that note, Alice, who should fuck off?
The entire police department handling Breonna Taylor. They're just coming
Yeah.
out with fucking lie after lie. All of this bullshit. The cops are like, "Oh, we're so sad. We were so scared. It was just a whoopsie daisy." Like they can all go fuck right off a cliff.
Christine. Who should fuck-
Anti-maskers. Anyone who doesn't wear a mask outside. Anyone who doesn't wear a mask in public. I hate you. You're stupid. Wear a mask. Let's get this thing settled. And we'll never, this would be, we would probably be back to pretty much normal right now.
We could have been
If
through
it
this
weren't
thing
for you.
already.
I'm so angry.
Could have been
I
done 3
can't
months
even.
ago.
Well,
Yeah.
it's also the people who wear masks like this, with their nose hanging out. It's like, that doesn't
yeah.
do anything. It's like wearing your fucking underwear with your dick hanging out. Like nothing. It doesn't matter, man. Like I don't know.
Oh, but if you wear
Oh.
pants,
Mhm.
I
And then-
don't know. I mean, if you wear pants, it's still covered.
Yeah, but if your dick's hanging out,
Well, I'm just
it's
saying
still-
that's
Not if you're doing it right.
where it falls
Yeah.
down.
No, I
You know?
Have you guys seen the
Same
like the
time,
Christian
it's not like you-
Facebook statuses?
All right. It's not like you can get HIV for someone's dick being out, or if someone's nose is out, you can get COVID.
Yeah.
And I've tried. No, I don't know. It makes no sense.
Mine is kind of a trio of people. There was a Rand Paul tweet that was like, "Why do we give so much credit to Governor Cuomo and Governor Murphy when their deaths per capita are so terrible, and yet we shit on Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis?" And here's the reason: because the virus was in the Northeast for weeks before anyone knew it was there. So they were slammed with infections, hospitalizations, deaths right away. They had to catch up. They did a great job at flattening the curve. And in the Northeast now, the virus isn't that bad. DeSantis and Abbott could have taken preventative measures, and it never would have had to have been there. But instead, DeSantis took a victory lap on Fox News 6 weeks into a pandemic. And what did he do this past week? On the day that Florida had their highest cases, and not only Florida's, any state's highest case count, he opened fucking Disney World. And he's insisting the schools open. I feel so bad for Floridians because it's never going to stop.
But
until
it's
there's a vaccine.
Florida. I mean, do you
Their
really feel
doctors
bad
are
for
so
them? I don't know.
Dave, come on, man. We're all Americans.
I feel bad for the doctors and nurses.
Yeah, no,
Working in a
that's who-
hospital knowing
that's
that
who-
shit's coming.
That's what I feel bad about. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
feel bad about the mouse, man. I don't know.
Any,
I work for Universal Studios. They need all the help they can get working in those costumes. Poor people.
Oh, they had a high coronavirus rate among the people in those costumes too, from what I heard.
Oh, absolutely. There's no way
Yeah.
they share the costumes,
Yeah,
first
yeah.
of all.
No, there was a pretty bad outbreak among the employees, from what I had heard.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yep.
wow. He's so fucking dumb. And with that, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you guys. much. This is so
Thank
much-
you.
Woo!
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks,
Good
everyone.
night.
Sorry for the raw dog comment, Dave.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.